introduction sort of what he's done, what he's up to now, and then we'll take some questions at the end and go from there. So thank you very much for coming from Ottawa to join us today.
My pleasure.
And we've spoken on a number of occasions about the budget process, so it's really nice for you to join us. And I guess start by, you were in finance for a number of years, you were the Parliamentary Budget Officer for 5 years, and now you are working at the Institute for Fiscal Studies and Democracy. So walk us through a little bit of your history and a little bit of the experience at the PBO, because you're building an institution there, and what you're up to today.
Sure. So it's great to be here. I had this great pleasure of bumping into Nate with his beautiful family in one of the airports. It's the Ottawa airport, and started a relationship where he paid me a few visits, and we just had these sort of background talks about budgeting and what's behind it. So
I walk away with homework every time.
Yeah, reading materials. So yeah, it's just great to be in this area. Thank you so much. What a great day. My wife's actually walking the boardwalk right now. I was trained sort of as an economist. I was one of those people that went to university, studied economics, and then I started the Department of Finance around 1980. Spent the better part of a decade there working on budgeting, just projecting where's the economy going, Canada, U.S. economy. Then ran a small shop in fiscal policy and finance, really kind of steering the budget through the Ministry of Finance. I had other jobs in the government as well. I worked at Treasury Board Secretary, which is kind of like the budget for various federal departments. Worked at the Privy Council office for many years, where you kind of steer the budget actually through the cabinet, through the Prime Minister's office. And before I became the Parliamentary Budget Officer of Canada, I was the Assistant Secretary for Macroeconomic Policy. So it's one of these people that work in the same building as the PM. And every funding decision, any changes to taxation, we had to brief the Prime Minister, make sure he was comfortable with it. So both the Finance Minister and the Prime Minister would sign off on these monetary decisions. And then we would take the budget through to cabinet. And I did work in line departments like agriculture and fisheries and oceans and human resources, social development Canada. And it was almost always in a budgetary context. And becoming Parliamentary Budget Officer in 2008, I was appointed in March 2008. It was after the Conservative government, Prime Minister Harper, brought something called the Accountability Act. He wanted to have more transparency. He wanted Parliament to have more analysis when they were voting on tax legislation and spending legislation. So I had the great honor of being the first Parliamentary Budget Officer, but building an office. And I'm happy to say that under Prime Minister Trudeau, the legislation that underpinned that office is now much stronger, and it's being recognized, through like the OECD countries. So that's the good thing. So yeah, now I'm at the University of Ottawa. I get to work with the next generation. I had a research chair for 3 years now. I'm running this institute where we kind of look at fiscal, public finance issues. So we're focused on issues like healthcare, and particularly pharma care. We're focused on First Nations issues, child welfare funding formulas. I'm somebody that grew up in Thunder Bay, Ontario, where there's we have reserves in that part of the community, and I think the thinking now of First Nations people, and I think our Prime Minister as well, is that too often we send kids that are struggling in families from up north, and we're sending them down to communities like where I grew up in Thunder Bay or Toronto or elsewhere. We need to create a better budgeting system where we can keep the kids in their families, keep them up north. So we're working literally with federal departments and Indigenous people to actually create these new budgetary systems. We do work as well on infrastructure. I was here just a couple of weeks ago with colleagues from Australia, New Zealand, and the UK, kind of talking about how do countries, when they are allocating money on these big infrastructure projects, or what information do we need to know to set those priorities? How do we do due diligence? So the work goes on, but just one other tool I should say that we're building at the Institute of Fiscal Studies and Democracy are what we call citizen budget tools. So we hope that with these sort of electronic tools that fit on your phone, you can literally scroll through, like, what is the government's fiscal situation, how much money are we collecting in revenues, what if you change revenues, a tax rate or a bracket, on spending programs, what do we spend on various spending programs, we deconstruct some of those spending programs, and then what if you wanted to spend more, like there's interest in spending more in research. potentially, cancer research, like, how much are we spending now? What if we spend a little bit more? What would that do to the budget? Probably not much. Probably be a good investment. And so we're going to launch these tools over the next year, and we're close to launching them.